Hello, and welcome to episode 49 of the Carry On with Carrie podcast. Today, I am thrilled to introduce you to Andreea Modrea. Andreea became a certified holistic nutrition and health coach because she too had suffered. Her life-changing event ignited her passion to empower busy moms to prevent illness and improve their overall health and to thrive. And that's the biggest thing. Andreea speaks to us from her heart. In this episode, Andreea will be talking to us about her experience with Graves' disease. She tells a brave story, and she's turned all of those things into wellness and goodness for other women and to help out others. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. I know you will. Thanks for everyone. I know I've been a little inconsistent of recent. Life has been busy, but I appreciate every listener, and I will still be around, and I'm looking forward to the year ahead. Lots of exciting things planned. And if any of you have anything that you want to talk about or promote, please reach out to me, and I would love to highlight something that means something to you. All right, so without further ado, now it's time to talk. Hello, Andreea. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Carrie. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good today. Yeah, it's we were talking about the weather, and I'm out here in the west in Edmonton, and it's been a little bit. Yeah, we haven't had the greatest weather yet, and you're out in Ottawa.
I am, yeah. The weather's been pretty good this year compared to last. Last year we had a lot of smoke, a lot of gray skies, pretty much all summer long. So this is much better so far.
Yeah, let's hope the rain. That's the thing we've needed out here. It started smoky, and we have gotten the rain, so thank goodness for that. Welcome to the show, and I'm really excited to talk to you today. We met via Instagram, and it's nice to finally be face to face, so to speak, with you. And can you tell us, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yes, okay. So I am a holistic nutrition and health coach. I help busy moms transform their health so that they can thrive with more energy and more confidence and less stress. Um, I help them to lose weight. I help them to balance their hormones, balance their blood sugar, whatever health issues they need. They can certainly come and have a talk with me. And the first health assessment is completely free.
Oh, wow. Nice. And
Yes.
so can you, what got you started on this path? Why were you interested in helping other women, specifically women, right? Or are you kind
Correct.
of, yeah. What kind of led you to that passion?
Thank you for asking. Actually, it was my own experience. Many years ago, I had a very stressful lifestyle, not eating healthy, always on the go, like two, three jobs plus school, and just barely keeping everything together. And long story short, my health crashed. Uh, it took a long time to actually get a correct diagnosis, but I was feeling terrible. I was hot and sweaty all the time. I was nauseous almost 24/7. Um, my hands were shaking like crazy, like I could barely write my own name. Um,
Wow.
just lots and lots of different like symptoms, and I just kept getting diagnosed with high stress and acid reflux. But it was so much more than that. Eventually, I did find out that I had Graves' disease. And again, I'm not going to, you know, get on into all the gory details, but I had to have my thyroid removed.
Okay.
Well, according to the allopathic doctors, I had to have my thyroid removed. I mean, I'm sure, looking back, uh, there may have been other options to try out from a holistic perspective, but
Hmm.
I was alone and I was scared and I wasn't familiar with holistic practices. So I just let myself be guided into the direction that I was guided into. But You know what? All our experiences are here to teach us, right? And
Yes,
to learn and to
that's what
grow.
shapes us. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, like I said, I had to have my thyroid removed. So during the surgery, I had a near death experience. I was surrounded by God's infinite white light and felt a sense of love and peace and tranquility. And coming out of that, I mean, certainly not right away, but, reflecting on it afterwards as I was recuperating, I realized that I did, in fact, get a second chance, not only at life, but to turn my life around. Like I could obviously not go back to the same lifestyle of go, 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 high stress, bad eating, all of that. And
Hmm.
over the years, I've changed a lot of things in my life, not only diet, but also the things I use to clean my home, personal care products, exercise, mindfulness practices, all of those things I've changed bit by bit by bit.
Hmm.
And I recently decided to get certified as a holistic practitioner. So here I
Good
am.
for you. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
exciting stuff. And, to take those challenges that you were faced with and turn them around into how can I make this something positive and good for myself and to help others grow. As far as the near death experience, I do want to like coming out of that and like you said, it all kind of molds who you are right now. And so you said the perspective just changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was almost instant. And I feel like I must have been guided by the divine because I kept finding the right people, finding the right information. I have done like deep dives into like all sorts of rabbit holes
hmm,
over the years. I've done so much research on my own, like day after day, late nights, you name it. Um, yeah, lots of research into holistic health. Um, yeah, what to do, what to avoid, all
hmm.
all of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you think a lot of like what is your I guess take on all the chemicals we use? Like you mentioned cleaning products and stuff. You know, it's in everything.
They are,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in everything, and we have to do our best to avoid and also to detox our bodies through healthy habits.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So yeah, for sure. And so holistic healing, what does that
yes.
involve for you? Like what are your specialties and where do you feel like you've kind of been guided towards?
So, holistic meaning whole. So, we look at the whole picture and at the root causes of certain conditions and illnesses. And in my practice, I try to include all of the ones that I've just mentioned. So, number one, nutrition. That's what I focus on primarily.
Hmm.
Also, physical activity, hydration, very important. Mindfulness practices of different kinds, mindful eating, journaling, meditation, visualizations, um, getting a mindset coach if that's necessary, and like I said, detoxing our homes and our personal care products
Hmm.
as well. Yeah, so all of those five areas.
Right. And
Mhm.
meditation, what does that do for you?
It keeps me centered. It keeps me calm throughout the day. Yeah, it helps me visualize my day when I get up in the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's lots of different practices. You can use it for relaxation. You can use it, to for positive affirmations. You can use it to help you focus, keep you centered.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge one that a lot of people get, I think, a misconception of that it has to be a certain way and you have to do the, and stuff like that. But there's so many different ways for meditation. It's whether it be through listening to music or getting creative or just going for a walk. Do you have a specific
Absolutely.
one that really gets you motivated?
I have a guided meditation with positive affirmations. I really like that one. I
Hmm.
also, like you said, walking meditations, either listening to a guided meditation or just listening to soft music or meditation music as I go for a walk. That I
Hmm.
feel, especially in the mornings, really gets me centered and ready for the rest of my day.
Yeah, for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, you bring up nutrition now. This is a big one. I am working with a coach myself right now, and she's all about nutrition. And I know for me, when I slide off things, you get quick meals and you don't stay hydrated like you should, and all those things. And um, you don't realize that your energy levels are changing right away. And then you start getting sick again, or all these things start to kind of show up to remind you, hello, get
Yep.
eating. So, nutrition and hydration, do you have any advice for somebody who's trying to get on track, I guess?
Um, Well, there are a lot of things, right? So, the most basic, I would say, is to eat real whole foods. If you do nothing else, try to stay away from the middle aisles of the grocery store with all the prepackaged foods that are full of artificial sweeteners, artificial preservatives, colorings, all those chemicals that they put into what they call food, but they're really not even, they're not real food. They're food like products that we consume because they're readily available, they're convenient, they're tasty because there's lots of chemical additives that make them tasty and addictive. So I would say stick with real whole foods. You should fill up at least half your plate with vegetables, preferably leafy greens and watery vegetables, and then about one quarter healthy protein, about an eighth healthy fat, and then the last eighth can be whole grains or, starchy vegetables.
Hmm.
And that would be
And
the easiest way to go.
yeah. And do you find, because a lot of people say that gut health is brain health, when it comes to mental health as well?
Gut health is whole body, mind, body, spirit health. Quite frankly, it's not just mental. There is a huge gut brain connection through the vagus nerve,
Hmm.
but it's also like if you heal your gut, you will heal the rest of your body, whatever is ailing you. Like Hippocrates said that disease begins in the gut, but I believe that health, good or bad, begins in the gut. If you consume things that are unhealthy, lots of processed foods and sugar, your body will react because everything goes through our gut before it gets absorbed into our body cells,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
On the contrary, if you eat healthy, it goes into your gut, and our gut bacteria will be healthy and they will produce neurotransmitters and vitamins and electrolytes for our bodies that our bodies need.
Right.
Hmm.
So when you mentioned how you were not feeling well when you found out prior to finding out you had Graves' disease,
Yep.
um, what would your advice be to somebody as well that is not feeling themselves? I feel like you did trust your gut, you trusted your instincts and knew it was something more. Um, is there some advice that you can give to somebody who thinks that, maybe I'm going crazy here? Am I feeling these things? It's especially for invisible diseases, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question. Listen to your body, number one, because at first it'll come as just whispers, right? A headache here, joint pain, back pain, tummy aches, whatever, right? Energy levels that might not be the same as what you're used to. But then our body talks to us and it gets louder and louder, right? And you don't want it to get to the point where it's critical and your body is screaming at you to get help. Listen to your body and advocate for yourself. A lot of times, like in my case, People might go to the doctor and their blood test levels might show up as normal.
Hmm.
Keep pushing. Either keep pushing with your family doctor or get a second opinion or go and see a naturopath. Go and see a naturopath who can get you functional testing that covers a wide range of different um, areas of health that they can, you can look at and see, okay, is it a bacterial infection? Is it uh, systemic inflammation? Could it be an autoimmune disorder, right? Could
Right.
it be, you know, uh, anything, right? Like they cover so many things when they do functional testing. So definitely I would recommend working with a naturopath, and then they can recommend either working with a health coach or a nutritionist, or just with the naturopath themselves to get your health back on track.
Hmm.
So important. Our health is key. Like if we lose our health, what else have we got? Like in order to be able to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, be able to work, we need to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's um, the center for everything. I mean, it is our bodies. You take care of yourself, and other things will come. Whether you be your mind, your body, your spirit as well. I think, and so
Exactly.
that's where like the meditation and all that stuff kind of comes in. So, with the near death experience, I know we already talked about it, but like you brought up your spirituality in that way.
Yep.
How much do you think that's played into how you how you're doing today?
I think it's a major factor. Yeah, I rely on my faith a lot. I rely on the divine for guidance, to guide me in the right direction. Like I said, this entire journey, which I mean, it really has been a journey, um, was not like jumping from, the day after my surgery into being like, oh, I'm perfectly healthy now and I'm good to go. Like it wasn't like that. It's been, like I said, it's been a long journey, lots of small steps. And that's what I would recommend to anybody who's listening. You don't have to go from zero to hero. It takes small incremental steps over time to get big results, right?
Yes.
So, and I've been guided. I felt like I've been guided this whole way by the divine, right? Like I said, I met the right people. Naturopaths, holistic healers, spiritual healers. A lot of different people with that I've built a community with that have guided me along the way, that have shared information that I can also pass along to my clients as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I bet your clients like what at what point do you think people seek you out? And honestly, like with naturopathy, I know it's, thank goodness, becoming something that's sought out more.
hmm
Um, as far as what point people, is it kind of all levels of health that are coming to see you?
I think the common factor is that people have to make that decision for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I said, our body talks to us and we often ignore it. But there comes a certain point where maybe the talking is really loud and there's a click in our brains that says, okay, it's time. It's time for me to do something about it and take action, right? Like there
Mm-hmm.
has to be a decision point, right? And I think
Absolutely.
that's where clients come to me
Right.
once they've taken that decision, once they've decided I'm going to take action and take care of my health and my family's health by default, right? Because once you learn certain practices for yourself, you can't just leave your family behind, right? To
Right.
continue doing the same old, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
like and getting
especially
everybody
as
on track.
exactly, especially as moms, like we are those leaders of the family, especially when it comes to nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
It's it just happens to be the case that moms primarily are still uh, responsible for nurturing. the family and providing, you know, food for the family.
Yes, yeah. And teaching our kids that you can eat well and enjoy the food too when it's nutritional. It's not
That's it.
yeah, like
That's
just
it.
changing the mindset around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Food doesn't have to be like either really extreme in either sense, right? It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be extremely bland to be healthy, and it doesn't have to be extremely fancy to be healthy.
Right.
Like I said, if you use the plate method that I described earlier, where half your plate is healthy, wholesome, nutritionally dense vegetables, protein, and healthy fat, then you're winning.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the goal. If you can do that 80% of the time, and I mean, there's always room to treat yourself and your family, and with delicious treats, right? If
Hmm.
you can like do the healthy stuff 80% of the time, and then you can treat yourself 20% of the time, that's a lot if you think about it. 20%, right?
Oh,
Out of
absolutely,
four
compared to what
meals,
we.
that's like one meal. Right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And it's those small steps, like you said. I think that's the biggest thing is when people look at this kind of lifestyle change, if you want to call it that. I don't know if
yes,
that's even the right terminology for it, but it seems daunting at first. So like you said, those little tiny steps and the little wins that you can kind of congratulate yourself for and celebrate.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Small steps equal big progress. Big progress. Like, if you're doing it and doing it and doing it for a year, then you look back, keep a journal and look back at all the steps that you've taken and how far you've come. You'll be amazed, and you'll be so proud of yourself. Definitely cause for celebration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, so your works, when you talked about physical therapy or physical exercise and movement,
Yes.
um, is something that you particularly enjoy? I know you brought up walking, but is there, like, do you follow something every day a schedule as far as moving the body?
Yes, so I would recommend that we move our bodies at least 3 to 4 times per week for about 45 minutes, at least, right? Minimum 3 to 4 days a week, 45 minutes, about half an hour of some sort of strength training, right? It doesn't have to be heavy weightlifting, but strength training to build up our strength and our muscles, and about 15 to 30 minutes of cardio. Again,
Right.
that could be simply as walking, right? Yoga. I love to do yoga. Yoga is my thing. It's good
Yeah.
for strength. It's good for mind, body, spirit connection. There's so many different ways to move our bodies. There's HIIT. There's, strength training, weightlifting, but do whatever you love. If you love to dance and move your body that way, then dance. And if you love to go walking your dog with the neighbors or your colleagues, do that. But do what will get you out there and doing it. Don't feel like it's some sort of stressor that, oh, I have to go to the gym. I have to. Don't think of it as a I have to. Find something that you love and do it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, so
absolutely.
important. Because
Hmm.
otherwise you won't stay consistent. At least that's been my what I've done to myself. Anytime I force myself to do something that I'm not enjoying, right? I love the walking with the dogs, and you brought up
Yes.
dance. I love that as well.
Yep.
So yeah, any way that or cleaning. If you get in
Exactly.
the right,
Yeah. Cleaning, gardening, get your body moving.
yeah, yeah, it
Absolutely.
doesn't have to be complicated.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Is there So, do you have little tiny tips and tricks for people that, okay, so do you, for supplements and stuff, are you big on supplements with naturopathy, or do you prefer to get most of your nutrition out of food?
I prefer to get most nutrition out of food, and supplements are that. Supplements are supplements, right? They supplement our nutrition.
Right.
right? There are certain ones that most people probably should take. So vitamins A, B complex, C, D, magnesium, and zinc.
Okay.
Those are the basics that probably everybody could benefit from taking. Um, Other than that, it would depend on each person's situation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, their own health and whatever condition they might be presenting with.
Hmm. So have you specifically had being, I like to kind of go into the mental health aspect of things. Um, how important all of these things. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to, just hearing all of your advice so far, um, how it how it pertains to mental health. And have you seen a huge shift in a lot of your clients as far as, the energy levels and once they start going down that path
Absolutely.
mentally?
So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. What I say at the beginning, right, when I meet with a client and we start coaching, what I say, there are two major toxins that we put in our bodies. Number one is sugar, and the other is stress. And the two together are practically a deadly combination.
Mhm.
Mm, You know, I don't like to use the word deadly because it's quite scary, but um, yeah, it is a fierce combination to have if you're eating a lot of junk food, a lot of sugar processed foods, and at the same time you're under a lot of stress, you're in a toxic relationship, uh, you know, all of that transforms your body to be toxic, right? It transforms your gut to be toxic, and the stress just adds to it. So we
Mhm.
that's why we need to cover all areas. We need to cover the mental and emotional aspects as well as the physical.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, again, it all goes hand in hand. And is there,
absolutely.
like you mentioned, the life coaching, that you would recommend a life coach? Have you done anything with therapy as far as, like, say somebody does come to you that is severely, struggling with just anything, their thoughts and in that mental health aspect, what would
Yeah,
be
I,
your first advice?
I would definitely recommend that they get therapy because I'm not specialized to
Hmm.
do that. I can certainly continue working with them, and I can certainly work along with if they're working with a naturopath, if they're working with a therapist. I can communicate with those specialists, and we can work as a team to support the client,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
And
And
that's
that way,
that's something that can be offered, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Then you have a trifecta of support,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Also mindset coaching, right? Like I can support to some extent, but if somebody is having like debilitating self-confidence issues, right, then I
Hmm.
would recommend working with a mindset coach, dealing with the trauma that's underlying all the issues.
Right. So
Mhm.
how often, and for somebody who's new to holistic, and I have to admit I am too, and it's been a struggle as far as, I think health benefits and financial aid is becoming a little bit more accepted within the holistic community as well. Like, more
Mhm.
things are being accepted and covered.
Yes.
But for somebody who is maybe challenged in that regard, as far as financially, is there options?
Other than checking with your insurance provider or checking what, in terms of government support, I I'm not familiar with the financial
Yeah.
aspects to be fair.
No,
Yeah.
to be, and that's, yeah, and the only reason I bring this up is because I've talked to a few people, and that's the challenge, is like to start to get things like naturopathy and alternative medicine to be covered. I mean, that becomes a challenge for people, right?
Um,
For the advocacy for like all types of healing.
mm,
That's why it's so important to me to get it out there so people can start. It'll become a normal thing. It'll become like a reachable thing for everyone to grab onto, and maybe some
absolutely.
resources that would be that you could recommend. Like you, like even just listening to a podcast, listening to getting on YouTube and finding a channel. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I
I don't
do.
know why. Yeah, you do. So
Yes, I do.
you provide that guidance for free,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. You can go out there and do your own research and
Mm-hmm.
be guided by your gut, by your intuition. You'll know when something feels right. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
be, oh, this is garbage. But you can also feel like maybe today you feel like, oh, that's too much for me. That's, like I can't do that. That's too advanced for me or whatever. But then maybe it sticks with you. And then, it comes up in your dreams at night, or you wake up in the morning thinking about it. Maybe watch that same episode again. Maybe watch it 3 times. Maybe take some notes. You like you said, all of this information is free. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of information that could differ from one to the other. Some people say completely opposite things.
Yes.
Uh, so you have to use your discernment and use your gut in instinct. Use your intuition to feel into what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It
Yeah.
might be just as simple as how you eat. You know, removing the things that are unhealthy and replacing them with whole, nutritionally dense foods.
Right.
If you start there, like I said, you're winning,
Exactly.
right?
And
Build up from that.
yeah, for sure. And okay, so but you kind of mentioned about different, people giving information out there, and we all know with
Yeah.
social media, it's not always we may not agree with everything that everybody says, or you got to trust your gut. Is this for me? Is this even real? Is there any
Yes.
dangerous trends right now that you can think of that you're not too thrilled with that are kind of going around?
There's so many different things. I couldn't possibly find just one, but I mean, a lot of the things that trend for young people,
Uh-huh.
um, I saw a video just earlier today that there was like an energy drinks. Like, cut
Yeah.
that shit out. Excuse my language, but like
Yeah. No.
those things are horrible. Number one, the level of caffeine is tremendous, way more than a simple cup of coffee, and the added chemicals. It's mind blowing. Like there was, yeah. So the video that I was watching was pointing out a particular brand, which I don't even recall the name, so um, I couldn't tell you what brand. But a lot of teenagers are apparently drinking this stuff, and it has PFAS chemicals in it. So those are forever chemicals,
Okay.
uh, and apparently the level is like 3 times what you should consume in a lifetime. What's
Wow.
allowable in a lifetime, and there's a class action against this company, and yet the drinks have not been pulled off the shelves. So that's the kind of thing that you really need to be wary of. And I say, as parents, we need to be hyper vigilant of what our kids are consuming when they are not under our roof.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not in control, you can be putting a healthy meal on the table for your children, but there's a lot of peer pressure when they're at school, right? And with
Yes.
their friends, right? Like this has not changed since forever, right? Peer pressure has been around forever. You have to be aware of what your kids are consuming when they're not at home,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And have open and honest conversations with them, right?
Yeah, that's so important.
Teach them why they shouldn't, you know. And
Yeah.
it's hard for kids because they can't see around the corner, right? It's not, that's an adult. It just happens to be an adult ability to see around corners, to understand long-term consequences,
I like the way you
because they
put
might,
that. See around
yeah.
the corners.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, they have a hard time with that, right? Understanding what long-term consequences are. Oh, if I just have one, right?
hmm
But one today and one tomorrow and one the next day, of course. Like, our bodies are incredible self-healing machines. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. Incredible, like divinely created self-healing machines. And our bodies can take a lot of use and abuse. And that's what I was saying. Listen to your body when it's whispering, because it will get louder and louder. But that's the thing. If you have one energy drink today or one box of Oreo cookies this week, your body will be fine tomorrow. I mean, you might have a terrible stomach ache, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not going to have cancer the next day, right? It
Right.
takes so just as an example, for an average cancer to develop, it takes 8 to 10 years to have a tumor this size.
Oh, wow.
8
Hmm.
to 10 years to have a tumor that size. So you will not notice, but these things are developing inside us over time,
Right.
right? Our bodies can take a lot, but
Until I
don't let it
can't.
get until it can't,
hmm
until it can't, right? You get into crisis mode, right? And you don't want to get to that point. You
hmm
don't want to get to the point where you're freaking out and you don't know where to turn, right? Take care of your health now. Take care of your health while you have the opportunity to be healthy and maintain your health.
What's your favorite part of what you're doing right now? Like, what do you see? I can just imagine, like, the hope that, like, already you've motivated me to stop eating the ice cream that I keep eating because it tastes so darn good. But it is addictive. And I realize, like, that's the whole point of it. That's why people keep consuming it. But so thank you for this is just a healthy reminder and gentle reminder to me
Hmm.
to kind of get back on track. And so yes, what is your favorite part about doing this?
I love when people get an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing that. Sometimes it's not from me. Sometimes I will keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I have a client who tells me about their breakfast having been regular breakfast every day, Timmy's bagel with cream cheese and a coffee. And I say,
Mm-hmm.
you need to eat a healthy breakfast. You need to eat a healthy breakfast that has protein and preferably some green leafy vegetables in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I repeated that over and over and over and over, week after week. And then one day, my client had an appointment with their doctor, and their doctor says, oh, you need to do XYZ, whatever it was, whether it was lose weight or, you're a bit overweight. There's, you're, I don't know, pre-diabetic. I'm making stuff up right now because I don't recall, and
Yeah,
nor
no,
should I
that's
be
fair.
sharing what their doctor said.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, there are these, you know, conditions, and my client says, "Oh, I think I need to change that breakfast."
Mm-hmm. Aha.
Aha!
Yeah.
Exactly, the aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those aha moments when people realize that uh, something that they've been resistant to is actually quite necessary for them.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
it finally clicks. Oh, that's
exactly,
why. Now I get
exactly,
it. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And that you played an integral part in that,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's one of those
Yeah.
things I think of, like, when you learn something or something specifically happens to you, 3 years later, oh, okay, well, that's why that happened. Or,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 Okay, so I ask all of my guests this one question, and I'm
Okay.
interested to hear what you have to say.
Hmm.
What is the last best thing that you do every night before you go to bed?
I kiss my son goodnight.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. First thing in the morning, we have like a little cuddle session, and
Hmm.
last thing at night as well. Yeah. I
Nice.
start my morning with cuddles, serotonin flooding through my brain.
Right? And
Yes.
his,
And his, of
you
course.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of us. Both of us. Having that connection. Yeah. I think it's really important, especially since we spend the day apart with him at school and me working. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Yeah.
so that brings up a sense of community. And you brought that up. Having, whether it be just a friend, an acquaintance that you go for a walk with, how important do you think socializing and finding your tribe, I guess, is?
It's huge. So important to have a supportive community. So important to have conversations, like open conversations with your family. If you've made that decision for yourself, let them know. Like,
Mhm.
let them know, you know what? Mommy has decided to take care of her health, and we're going to be eating a bit differently from now on. And you're going to be like, oh, a lot of humming and hawing.
Yep.
Uh, but you can tell them, look, it's not going to taste bad. And we're all going to get in on this. We're going to do this together as a family. Also, tell your extended family and your friends that, when you go over for family dinners, big, celebratory meals, you can bring your own dish, or you can not partake in any of, like, not any, but like some of the things that are served you might not partake in.
Hmm. Yep.
Or you pick and choose the things that you feel are right for you, and you just let them know. Just let them know, I'm doing this for my health for the long term, and they will be okay with it. They will be just fine.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
will
And
survive, right?
yeah. Oh, and if they know it's helping you and it's something that's making you
Well,
feel
that's it.
better, they want that for you.
Absolutely.
Those
Absolutely. I
are
agree
your
with that.
people.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean being unrealistic about every time you go out, you have, you're making, like you said, inconveniencing other people. Like you can, there's ways of working it into events and,
Absolutely.
right? For somebody,
Absolutely.
for instance, who doesn't drink, like I'm not a drinker anymore. And I did at one point, and now, so that was the biggest thing. Well, I just don't drink.
Hmm.
Right. And things like that. You go into a crowd of people and you don't have to be doing all what everybody else is doing.
No, you
No.
don't. You can stand out, and it's okay to stand out. And
Yeah.
maybe you might teach somebody else why you're not doing it, and maybe it'll click something for them as well,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know
And you
who's
and you,
watching you.
exactly. You can be a role model for somebody else. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And like
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, don't stress yourself. Like, um 80/20 rule. That's huge. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to think that I'm promoting diet culture or anything like that, or really anything stringent. Do it for your health, but always keep the 80/20 rule in mind, right? Like, where 80% of the time you're doing the healthy things, and 20% of the time you can treat yourself
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
feel good and enjoy. Like, don't feel guilty if you're having a piece of cheesecake with your dinner, right?
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah. Because
It's
that guilt
okay.
doesn't get you too far. It makes it
No,
then,
the
yeah.
guilt causes stress, and the stress causes like this, whole vicious cycle.
Hmm.
No,
Yeah. And be grateful for the food you have too. I mean, if you add
absolutely.
gratitude into everything, I think that also brings intention and mindfulness.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gratitude for the things we have, gratitude for having the opportunity to eat healthy and having those healthy options around
Hmm.
us. Absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah, it turns around the mindset of I have to do this. It's like, well, I get to do this. I get to
Hmm.
make that choice today to, maybe not pick up the spoon and dive into the ice cream. Right? Yeah. But it's okay to enjoy it once in a while. That is okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you can
for
always
sure.
find healthy alternatives. There's healthy alternatives to practically everything.
Yes, and that's the one good thing about Google right now too, is that it really is, there's so many different recipes out there now that, are
Yes.
available to try out nutritional, good tasting things.
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean I get caught up like watching so many little clips on Instagram of like healthy options for, making tortillas or chocolate cake
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, yes, I want to know. Yeah.
Thing is, somebody mentioned to me, is getting your family involved with that part of it, like with the cooking, and almost like make a fun little competition. Well, who could make the best healthy dessert, or who could make the best meal that night? Like you plan, okay, well, this is going to be my meal this for this week. Even
Hmm.
if you have a younger child, you can incorporate them into that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely get your kids involved. They love that. They love getting in the kitchen with mom and dad. Yeah, absolutely.
I have
They
three
love to get
sons
their hands
myself.
dirty.
I have three sons, and they love to cook. Like all three of them are good. I don't know, would I say they're better than me? They're more adventurous, I think, in some ways. They're not better than me yet. But yeah, and I just love to see that they're like, they go down that rabbit hole too. Like that's the thing too, is where you put your mind and your focus. So you could be on Instagram, but what rabbit hole are you going down?
Exactly.
Right? Just little
Exactly.
things like that even.
Yep.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And social media can be, it has, right? It's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
It has its good points and its bad points,
Hmm.
right? And
And again,
choose,
it's moderation.
absolutely, moderation, and choose what you consume. The same way you would choose what you consume in terms of food and exercise and relationships, choose what you consume with your eyes
Hmm.
and your ears. Yeah, really
Yeah,
important.
absolutely. Yeah, and it's been so good to talk to you today. And I can you let everybody know how to find you, where
Sure,
your
absolutely.
website and Instagram and all that?
Yeah, again, my name is Andrea Modrea, and I am a holistic nutrition and health coach at Our Healthy Path. So on Instagram, it's just that, Our Healthy Path. And my website is also www.ourhealthypath.ca. And there are a few um, YouTube videos on my channel, and it's at Our Healthy Path. So
Nice.
that's what it is, Our Healthy Path.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect. And
Yes.
is there a way, I guess I didn't ask you already, if you are in Ottawa, so for anyone local to
Yes.
Ottawa, they can reach out to you at any point and see you in person. Is there anything that you offer online?
I work primarily online, actually.
Okay.
It's rare that I actually have in person meetings. I mean, it's obviously possible for those who are local, but I work
Okay.
primarily online, and that helps me, serve a large clientele around the world. Um, Not that I necessarily have a large clientele around the world, but I have a few clients who are in different time zones.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually going to mention, if anybody mentions your podcast and wants to be a client, I am happy to offer 20% off
Oh, nice.
all
Well,
of my programs. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, it's exciting. And I think you guys should reach out to Andrea. She's full of really good information, and it's solid,
Thank you.
realistic information. And that's what I like about it. Yeah.
That's my hope, and that's my goal, is to try to be as realistic and practical as possible, so that
Hmm.
people can actually do the things. It's not just theoretical, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want it to be practical advice that people can just, take little bits and pieces and put them together in whatever way fits their lifestyle.
Yeah. Make a little, and that's part of it. Like, would you make like a regime for people kind of thing? Like to get them on track. I hate saying regime. That sounds kind of too starchy, but
Mhm.
something that, like sets a schedule and puts them, like you said, on your healthy path.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, all of my programs or plans are customized. So we would have a conversation, we would have an in-depth assessment to begin with, and then I would build a plan in conjunction with the client to see what would work for them. Some people like doing things a certain way. Some people are like, no, I don't want to count calories. I don't want to count macros. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
I love this plate method. So we would just, go with that, or vice versa, right? Some people are like, oh, I need something that's very regimented, like you said. Um, and they want something that's very strict. Maybe that's the way they live their lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay too. That's okay too. Um, can be more flexible, it could be more regimented. Like I said, it's customized to each individual client. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, and you're welcome
Thank
back
you again.
anytime. And if
I'd love that.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch more of what you have going on social media, because I'm watching all the time, and
Thank
it's
you.
great information. So everybody should check her out. Thank you, Andrea. I really hope that your day is a great one, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Carrie. Have a fantastic day yourself.
Thank you, Andrea. Take care. Well, that was another amazing episode of the Carry On with Carrie podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you to Andrea for sharing her story and hope with other women. It was a great interview, and I want you guys to check out more from her. You can find her again on Instagram at Our Healthy Path. It's all lowercase letters, and you can go to her website at www.ourhealthypath.ca. Again, I really appreciate all my listeners, and yes, anything else that you'd like me to share or focus on, I would be happy to highlight those things, all the things this year. So yeah, if you can give me a follow, and if you found some good content in this episode, please give it a share. You can follow me on Instagram at carryonwithcarrie_podcast, or you can follow me on Facebook at Carry On With Carrie Podcast. This show is available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So again, thank you so much, and let's just try to help one more person at a time.